some form of caffeine in the morning, be it coffee, soda, or an energy drink. With so many of us needing a daily pick-me-up, I began to wonder how safe caffeine really is. This brought me to a study by Suzette M. Evans and Ronald R. Griffin's 1999 study entitled Caffeine Withdrawal. Caffeine is the most commonly used additive stimulant drug in the world. Caffeine is classified as a stimulant because the substance raises the levels of psychological or nervous activity in the body. Caffeine is widely accessible and or present in many of the things that we already partake in. This could be from natural presences such as in chocolate or as an additive in medications for headaches or allergies. Today I will share with you the study. I will begin by discussing the research, and then I will move on to the findings. Let's begin with the research. 4 double-blind experiments were performed. Each experiment was performed in an independent group of healthy individuals who volunteered after seeing flyers posted on the Scott Francis Key Medical Center campus. Assessments were made of the conditions under which symptoms of withdrawal occurred once participants ceased intake of low to moderate amounts of caffeine. Different amounts of caffeine were given at different times in all 4 experiments. In each experiment, participants would come to the lab 4 times a day at a regular scheduled time each day. Using regular intervals allowed the researchers to make conclusions as to whether a total amount of caffeine at one time versus a total amount spread over 4 intakes would produce the same withdrawal symptoms. All participants were given 4 pills each day with either a varied amount of caffeine or a placebo. In all 4 experiments, participants were put on dietary restrictions to prevent additional caffeine intake. Those involved in the experiment were given a list and instructed to abstain from ingesting any amount of both caffeinated and decaffeinated coffees, teas, sodas, energy drinks, products with chocolate, and various over-the-counter medicines during the duration of the experiment. Saliva samples were taken at unannounced quasi-random times to confirm dietary compliance. Caffeine withdrawal questionnaires were completed by all participants 4 times a day in each experiment before the next pill was administered. They were given a subjective effects questionnaire. Data was collected from 26 out of 33 of the items on the questionnaire. It was on a point scale ranging from not at all to extremely. Now, I bet those of you who live off of Starbucks are very interested to hear the results. Here's what they found. Caffeine withdrawals were noticed after participants who previously were taking 300 milligrams of caffeine a day were switched to a placebo. All 76 participants suffered from increased headaches, poor mood, tiredness, fatigue, confusion/bewilderment, total mood disturbance, decreased activity and alertness, vigor, and friendliness. However, when participants were weaned off of caffeine at a minimum of 2 days, participants no longer experienced decreased alertness, activity, vigor, or friendliness. Caffeine withdrawal syndrome was the reliable result of both 300 milligrams ingested once in the morning and spread out over the course of the day. Caffeine exposure of 300 milligrams or less did not show significant increases of anger/hostility, depression/dejection, or tension/anxiety. Caffeine exposure of a minimum of 14 days required more than the experimented dosage of 3 out of 4 experiments to produce significant increases in these 3 symptoms of withdrawal. Therefore, it could not be substantiated by all 4 experiments. However, the higher caffeine exposure of 600 milligrams over a longer period of time than 14 days did produce significant increases in the previously listed symptoms as well as the 3 that were not substantiated by the other 3 experiments. In conclusion, daily caffeine exposure can produce withdrawal symptoms at varied severity given the amount consumed in one day. To review, we have discussed my 2 main points. We've discussed the research and we went over the findings of all 4 experiments. You may now consider yourself informed on potential withdrawal symptoms you may experience if you give up your daily pick-me-ups. Should you decide you no longer wish to long for caffeine in your daily diet, you can use the weaning schedule that we discussed in this speech to prevent yourself from suffering that awful caffeine headache.